Nothing like a West London derby to get the juices flowing, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy. Chelsea can get back on the horse. More wins, of course. 4 games in a row, undefeated. 3 games winning streak before the international break. Coming back to play Arsenal. Yeah, we're not going to go over it again, but yes, Chelsea should have won that game. But ultimately, they didn't lose it either. And the world of football are now respecting Chelsea in what we can do. But we got to keep that momentum going. We're playing Brentford. Brentford in the Premier League. And the last 2 times they visited Stamford Bridge, they've defeated Chelsea. But that was a rather different Chelsea. A more, fragmented, not properly put together team. Granted, we're not fully put together now, but Chelsea are trending in a good direction. And yes, loads of people are speculating, Chelsea is set up maybe to play better against the good teams. You could say our best 2 performances this season were our first and most recent games. So Liverpool and Arsenal, both good teams that want the ball themselves. Maybe these games in between, your Bournemouths, your Nottingham Forests, maybe your Brentfords, could prove to be difficult. We're going to speak about that today, ladies and gentlemen. And some good news about Christopher Nkunku. Oh, if you're feeling good and if you're feeling confident, please drop a like. And if you're not, just do it anyway. And of course, as always, you are welcome to subscribe if you want to. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Brentford for a little bit. Zickety-ding, let's have a look. This is the last time they played. They played against Burnley. They won 3-0 at home. Burnley saw a player get sent off, the right back Roberts, for 2 yellow cards. Brentford played 2 different formations, ladies and gentlemen. When they're playing a team that they believe they can overpower, they play a 4-3-3 formation, and when they feel like they're playing against a team that's better than them, they employ a back 5. They are versatile. This is an example of the 4-3-3 formation. As you can see, Mbueno and Vissa getting goals there in the absence of banned Ivan Toney, who can't return but to football until January. So they are the danger men. Neil Maupay's played like 36 games or something and hasn't scored, or was it 36 shots or something? Either way, he's really bad. But yes, you can bet your bottom dollar, ladies and gentlemen, that against Chelsea, especially going away, they will basically deploy the same formation as they did before, which is a back 5 system. They'll play a front 2 of Brian Mbueno and Vissa as well, who are good players. Maybe you see more pay off the bench, but they've got big, tall, combative centre-backs. They will try and play transitional football against us and catch us cold. Now, that does worry me because we're the kind of team that will sort of knock it about. Look, against Arsenal, against Liverpool, we let them have slightly more of the ball. I think Liverpool we did. Certainly we did against Arsenal, and it worked really well. We were in total control of the game until, of course, we weren't, for reasons we won't go into. But I have a feeling if we don't capitalise on being the better team with the better players at home, then we are very vulnerable and being caught cold in transition. Or certainly, historically, we have been. But maybe now we've got a functional working midfield of Conor Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. Maybe we're in business. Maybe everything's going to be all right. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you a lineup I built right here. Now, as you can see, it's a 4-3-3 formation, continuing the formation that's working well for us. Rob Sanchez will remain in goal despite people being disappointed from his performance against Arsenal. It wasn't just the mistake when he tried to pass out to Enzo Fernandez here and ended up just passing it to Declan Rice, who was around here and finished into an empty goal. Yes, it was he could have got a penalty. He was bad on the Trossard goal. He had a bad day at the office. Fine. Well, shake that off, Sanchez. Go on, shake it off, mate. And now be a good goalkeeper. Sanchez starts between the sticks. I believe Disasi will return to the side, which will mean he'll continue his partnership with Silva. And despite Colwell doing good against Arsenal at centre-back, I do genuinely feel like Pochettino will revert him back to the left-back role, where he's seemingly looking better and better over time. I just feel like this is where we'll see Colwell a little bit more reserved, which, allows someone like Mudryk, should he start on the left, which I believe he will, can be a little bit more offensive and basically effective. So I think Colwell will start on the left. Now, a little bit of a punt here from me is starting Reece James over Malo Gusto. Obviously, he came off the bench to play rather interestingly in midfield against Arsenal. I have a feeling Brentford at home, if he is fit, this is just a good opportunity for him to start. Though, because he only played a few minutes against Arsenal and it wasn't midfield, I do wonder if we see Gusto start, continue playing, and Reece James will come on maybe for like 30 minutes rather than a few minutes at right back. So although I'd like to see Reece James start, I have a feeling Gusto could start and Reece James will feature in the second half, but rather, like I say, coming on as a CDM, he'll come on for his native position at right back and hopefully have more significant minutes. So that's probably what's going to happen, though I would be totally happy, of course, seeing James start, and I'd be quite interested to see how he links up down the right-hand flank, especially if we play a little bit more defensively. If Cole tucks in, if we make an auxiliary back free like that, James can get forward, and like we say before, Mudryk and James offering the width. Suddenly, you have a free roaming overload in Cole Palmer. Oh yeah, baby. But in terms of the conventional starting formation, a back four of these mandem should James start. But like I said, a really, really important thing, of course, is the 4-3-3, the three-man midfield. It's the functional midfield three of Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, and Conor Gallagher, whose stats of late have been immaculate, we've spoken about. This is what makes me feel a little bit better in terms of protecting ourselves against those radical Brentford transitions. Caicedo really sing back, Conor Gallagher putting in the work here to hopefully stop it. Hopefully Enzo as well and playing those passes. Of course, should we go ahead in this game, I'd like to see it. We haven't seen it in a couple of games. But where is he? Ugachukwu coming on as a closer. I feel like playing a 4-2-3-1 with those two guys, and maybe Enzo coming off, Gallagher being like a sort of pressing sort of number 10. That would be a really good closing midfield, if you ask me, something that I've spoken about before. But let's go back to the starting formation. There we go. So 4-3-3, Enzo Fernandez left number 8, Conor Gallagher right number 8, just like he did at Crystal Palace, and then a front three of the undroppable at the moment, Cole Palmer, who plays on the right. He'll tuck in sometimes to occupy that space in the hole, which is the number 10 space. And yes, a little bit of a punt again, Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, of course, we could see Sterling start. And many of you might say, because we're going to be playing against a low block and counter team in Brentford, and that's probably doing them a bit of a disservice, but they will look to counter-attack. If you've got the ball more and say they're defending deep, Sterling, for the moment, and I don't think this is terminal, but for the moment is the better choice than Mudryk in terms of dribbling around and combining and getting in. Mudryk can do it, but if you're playing against a team like Arsenal where you get times to transition fast, you absolutely want Mudryk. To be honest, let's be honest here, both players are going to feature in this game, Sterling and Mudryk. They're both, whether one starts and the other one comes off the bench, or vice versa, both are going to feature in this game. So I have a feeling, because Cole will, because Cole will start at left back, I think we can afford to play Mudryk there. And Jackson, I think a striker might do well. Now, of course, we may see the same thing against Arsenal, but that was a good tactical setup for Arsenal. I think for playing Brentford at home, I think you've got to revert back to what you're trying to cultivate, what works, which is Nico Jackson as a striker. So this front three. Of course, you could end up seeing the Gallagher and Palmer. So what happens here is you then go for Sterling like that, and it was a 4-4-2. And this works really well, actually, because the opposition don't know what to do with Palmer and Gallagher playing up front, pressing and combining. And of course, you got all, I mean, essentially, these front five players can all attack well. Not Caicedo, but these sort of front five players can attack. It worked really, really well against Arsenal. I don't think we need to employ it there. We keep a good functional midfield three there, and I think we just play Nico Jackson. Now, I do want to talk a little bit. Where is he? I keep losing him. Jackson, where have you gone, mate? There you are. So I did want to talk a little bit about it. Breuer is not fit to play. Pochettino was pretty categorical about that, so that's my formation. He says no, he's just not ready. But of course, Christopher Nkunku has been pictured training on the grass and doing like when they can meet the squad days, like those open training days and stuff. And he was asked, how's Nkunku doing? He says, oh, very well. And it sounds like he's back ahead of schedule. Now, this is potentially massive. Like, because of course we've seen Nkunku himself posting like training videos of him strengthening the injured or the muscles that had surgery performed on him, which is always like a good morale lifter for the fans of that respective player. But then for him to see him training on the grass, I don't think he's in like proper team training yet. But what Pochettino said, he said he might be ready to return after the next international break, which is great. So the next international break is in November. And then, like, so he'll be back, what, before December? Like, people were saying, oh, yeah, we're not going to see Nkunku until, like, January. So maybe before, like, the international break. And usually managers don't say this at all. They, like, protect themselves and they keep their cards close to their chest. So that would be absolutely massive, especially he's talked about, like, oh, look, we might have had 8 goals from Nkunku by now. It's no secret that Chelsea signed Christopher Nkunku to be a goal scorer. You know, even if he's not playing as a conventional number 9, the holistic plan is here that he is a goal scorer and he's going to be scoring goals for Chelsea. He says, look, maybe if we had those 8 goals from Nkunku so far, who knows where we'd be. I'm guessing he means 8 goals in all competitions, unless he's really ambitious. But, you know, yeah, I agree. So that's massively positive news. I wanted to talk about that because we deserve good news. As far as the game goes itself, Brentford have had a difficult start to the season. Of course, they are missing Tony. That's massive for them. A couple of other players as well. They are, of course, coming off a 3-0 win, but they had played Burnley at home. That is a nice little morale lifter at the moment, isn't it? Like, you know, a lot of those teams are probably thinking, yeah, we're not going to get relegated because of, like, Burnley, Sheffield, Bournemouth, and Luton. You know, those 4 teams between them, 3 of them will go down, I think, anyway. So that's that's just the tonic, isn't it? Playing Burnley when you need a little bit of confidence. They are a good team. We should fear them, even if it's just the premise of they've beaten us since they've returned to the Premier League, or returned to the top flight, I should say. They've beaten us both times. And yes, that was a different Chelsea, but that will be in the players' heads. They'll be in the fans' heads at least. Even if those players weren't there when that happened, the Chelsea fans will remember it. There'll be an energy inside the bridge. And this kind of stuff does translate. It is relevant. Do you know what I mean? So Chelsea, now they're good. They're 4 undefeated. They should be 4 wins in a row. I am frightened of just Brian and Bueno transitioning on us and just being incredibly clinical, and Robert Sanchez just like, don't know, moonwalking out the goal or something. That's just going to happen. To be honest, for him, it's massive. I want to see a good performance from Sanchez. Just for me personally, I don't know if I've been unfair on him. Maybe I have, but just to shake it off, you know, because I freaking hate not being Arsenal. We used to be Arsenal all the time, and when someone takes it away from me, I get really upset. So if he can have a good game, this is a wonderful opportunity for Rob Sanchez to just be like, yep, I'm back. Few big saves. Don't worry about it, boys. Clean sheet. Let's move on. Let's keep this conversation away for a little bit. That suits me well. Hopefully Disasi can come back. It would be a massively feel-good story if Reece James starts, plays well, and plays 60 minutes. Or even if he just comes on and plays half an hour. I do feel comfortable Cole going to left back now. That was a weird feeling for me for the first few games, but I've settled into the idea, and I'm okay with it. Of course, we'll see that midfield free. Pochettino himself explained how Fernandes and Caicedo were tired against Arsenal after coming from their international break from such far travel. That excuse is now gone. They've had time to train, settle in, body clock, time zone recovery. And Conor Gallagher, you know, speaks for himself at the moment. He's the man. He's wearing the captain's armband, of course, unless Reece James starts. So the midfield three offers me confidence and warmth in my heart. Boy, oh boy, would I love to see another Mudryk goal. That would be a feel-good story. That would be like, you know, he would undeniably be in form then for club and country, and that would just be a really, really welcome narrative shift. To be honest, and this is a Chelsea thing of late, any and all forwards scoring would be good. Nico Jackson would be great. Cole Palmer, you know, it'll be fun if we get another penalty and he just gets that, and like we feel safe that we've got a penalty taker and it's just this like kid we've recently got from Man City. Be good fun. In terms of substitutes as well, obviously whoever doesn't play out of Mudryk and Sterling, The other one will come on as a substitute. You can bet your bottom dollar. I think Reece James and Gusto, there will be a substitute between them. And depending if we're winning or not, I do really like the Ugachukwu defensive seeing out a game. I know people think that's a little bit pragmatic, but, you know, it's vintage Chelsea. I like that, man. So we'll have to see what happens there. But I'm going to go with a score prediction. Oh, it's tough. I feel like we will get caught cold on one occasion here. But at the same time as well, I think we're good. And I think we demonstrate we're good. And I'm going to go confident, because why the ruddy heck not? 3-1 to Chelsea, and I believe the Brentford goal comes either when we're 3-0 up or 2-0 up or something. I don't think they equalise or whatever. I think it will come from complacency, getting caught cold. Or who knows? Wouldn't it be great? Well, I mean, it wouldn't be great, but wouldn't it be a show of strength if we concede first and then just go on to win 3-1? I mean, that would be new Chelsea, Pochettino's Chelsea, you know, Chelsea 2.0 or whatever, 24.0. Anyway, I'll put it out to you guys. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with my lineup? Do you agree with my prediction? Please do comment below. I love reading your comments. And yeah, man, I just thank you as always for supporting the content. And I hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.